Alrighty, guys. Well, welcome in. I'm going to get my Facebook here set up so I can check comments and stuff as well while we let everybody join the program here. Thanks for hanging in there through the show with me. My voice was really getting a little scratchy. It feels a little better now. I got a drink and moved around a little bit, but I'm not sure how long I'll be able to go before it starts to get pretty rough. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Or I have a giant coughing fit, but it's like now you're afraid to ever cough in public, right? Because if you do, you people just look at you like, oh, sinner. It's bad. Alrighty, got it open over here. So first off, I want to ask for questions. Anybody who's got a question about anything we talked about on the program today, or just a question about technology in general, happy to assist and help out as best I can. Feel free to post your questions here live on Facebook, and then if something comes to you after the fact, you can always comment there. And if I don't see it, the listeners are real good about helping other people out and making sure that they hear about things too. Just a quick reminder, today is the last day for that Surge Protector sale. Let me get you a link here real quick. Let's see. Let's see how the old search person did. Schrock Surge Protector. We're going to search for that and see if it comes up. Oh, it gave me ones from Lowe's. That's good. No. See, this is why we need Sergey. Yep. SchrockInnovations.com. Let's get you a link the hard way. So we're going to go to Schrock, we're going to go to Shop, we're going to go to Specials. Also, you can still purchase Safe Upgrade if you didn't get it already. If you still haven't received that 2.1H1 update and you're concerned about safely installing it, we are seeing the people coming in now that have problems. Microsoft has basically gone through all the people that they know will be fine, and now they're getting into the people that might have some issues. And so as a result, you may end up having an issue. So if it's something you want to do, Safe Upgrade is definitely something that you can use to install that for you. It's $54.99. If you do end up having to come into the service center anyway, it's no risk because we basically credit what you paid against the cost of installing it. It costs like $30 more to have it done in the shop. Some people just decide to come into the shop. They don't want to screw with it. They don't want to go online and buy it and download it and do all that to save $30. They'll just bring it into the shop and let us do it. As I mentioned, the benches are pretty open right now. In a service center that's designed to have 24 bench spots, being at 50% capacity, it's kind of like you could shoot a cannonball down one side of the room. So we got lots of bench spots to help you out. So this is definitely the time to use those maintenance certificates if you need to get those into the service center as well. No, it wasn't. It didn't get sidetracked. Erin says she was worried that the After Schrock got sidetracked. It's like, no, it didn't get sidetracked. I just needed to take a vocal break for a minute. For some reason, I don't understand in my brain that these devices are designed to capture and amplify your voice. And I feel like I have to be, super loud and everything. I am deaf in my left ear, or half deaf in my left ear, so I tend to be louder than the average bear anyway, just because I don't know how loud I'm being. Sometimes when I think I'm whispering, people are like, shh, So to me, this sounds like a quiet conversation right now, the voice level that I'm doing right now. To me, this sounds like a whisper. To me, this sounds like normal audio that you would talk during the day to somebody who's sitting as close as we are right now. So sometimes new employees think I'm yelling at them, and I'm like, no, that's just how he is. You just got to get used to it. He's just intense like that. All right, Roger's here, got the coffee, good to go. Richard's on board. Winston, good morning. Good to have you and Maggie. Mitch is here. There's Mary. Good to have you, Top Fan Mary, Top Fan Deborah. Oh, by the way, I'm not sure exactly how I want to do this, but we have 2 remaining beef games left for the season. So this week is the family game that we're inviting our family members to, the Schrock family members to. That's coming up this Saturday. But the Saturday after that, and I'll have to confirm the date, I wanted to do something for the After Schrock fans. I wanted to basically invite you all to a beef game. Now, we've got about 16 tickets that we can give away to the game. And, I mean, it's arena football, guys, so, I mean, it's like hockey. There's a fight usually at some point. One team usually wins like 700-9 or something. We buy good food, and we have fun, and you can drink if you drink or whatever you want to do. You do you. The mascot comes up and says hi. We buy bags of tennis balls to throw during halftime, try to win you some prizes in the bucket, that kind of thing. So it's a good time. It's just something fun to do. And, when you haven't been out and about for a year and you're like trying to get back into the swing, you're like, what is there to actually do? And then you find out a lot of the restaurants you used to go to are closed and not coming back. And some of the fun things you used to do just aren't really open yet. This is one of those cool things that you can just go do. Masks are still technically recommended, I don't know. They're not policing it like they were at the very beginning for sure. So, and besides, as long as you're eating or drinking, you're good to go. And that's why we buy a lot of food. You can just eat and drink the whole time, and then you're good to go. So I'm not sure how we want to do that. So I guess if it's something you're interested in, I would say send a private message. Send like a messenger message to Schrock Innovations, not a comment, because the comments will get mixed up with all the other comments. But send us a message saying, hey, I'd like to come to that game, and how many tickets you want, and then we'll just throw it out there first and see how many people want to come, and then once we know that, then we'll start begging people to come if we have leftover tickets. Alrighty, let's see here. What do we got? Good morning. Good morning, Janine. Good morning. Randy, good to have you. Aaron, I like that. Talk louder to people. Come from having a dad who was going deaf in the last few years he was alive. Yeah. But when you have your voice going to hell, it's a little hard to project that loud. Good morning, Loanne. All right, so this story about McDonald's. McDonald's is trying something new, and it may drive some customers mad. What they're trying to do is, Gary Saddlemeyer texted me during the show and said that in some Omaha locations are getting kiosks for ordering now too inside the restaurants. But what they want to do with this is a completely voice recognition AI-driven ordering. So you drive up to the speaker on the drive-thru and you tell the computer what you want to eat. And 85% of the time the computer gets it right. So the question is 85% lower or higher than the human accuracy rate? McDonald's doesn't say that, but they are very excited that it's 85% accurate. So I don't know what that means, but so as long as you're not ordering anything weird, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. CNBC is reporting the burger chain has installed these AI robots in 10 Chicago McDonald's locations, so it doesn't have to employ so many humans. No, that's not what they're saying. Of course, the company says it's just experimenting with technology that it acquired from Apprente, whose alleged skill is creating AI to take voice orders. All right, McDonald's would like you to know that its tests thus far have shown that the robots get orders right 85% of the time, which merely leaves 15% of customers complaining that they got 6 McMuffins instead of 6 McNuggets. I hope there's a lot of the names are similar, right? And you got to think about accents and stuff. There's hope for skeptics. McDonald's CEO doesn't think the McAI will be instantly injected into all of his company's restaurants. There's a big leap from going from 10 restaurants in Chicago to 14,000 restaurants across the U.S. with an infinite number of promo permeations, menu permeations, dialect permeations, weather, and so on, he said. Which is true. If the wind's howling outside the speaker, it's going to reduce the computer's ability to understand what you're ordering. This would be the stuff that humans can grasp easily with a hangover and without thinking. Oh, golly. But no, we must show that we are clever enough to make robots who can comprehend when we talk. So anyway, that is McDonald's playing around with new tech in Chicago. So, I mean, what do you just go through the drive-thru and take video of you trying to order crazy stuff? Like, I'd like a 7-piece chicken nugget meal, please, with a side of jalapeno ketchup and unslivered onions, like whole onions, okay? Yeah, I don't know. You can mess with it, I suppose. Fujifilm got the latest. They're the latest victim of ransomware attack, as the White House is urging business leaders to take action. So the White House is urging business leaders to take action. It's basically an admission that there is nothing the federal government can do to protect companies against cyber hacking. You literally have to protect yourself. This is really, it's kind of funny because if we change the words and we say, instead of like cyber attack, we say common criminal. If the federal government said there's nothing they can do to keep you safe from a common criminal, therefore you should be prepared to protect yourself, that would be politically incorrect, right? But we can tell you to protect yourself against hackers because there's nothing we can do. Now, realistically, there is nothing, especially the federal government, can do to keep you safe from common criminals either. Police don't prevent crime. Police respond to crime. Now, a police presence can prevent crime. I don't want to get into the weeds on all this, but for the most part, you call the police when there's a need to call the police, right? You don't call the police before there's a crime usually. Like, I just got a feeling that something's going to go down over here. There's some shady people walking around. You might call that in. That's going to get a low priority response to people who are calling in crimes that have already happened. Just saying. So it's just interesting that the government is admitting that they can't do anything about it, but then they're going to have like a war on terror against it, basically. In a statement, Fujifilm said it's investigating the unauthorized access to its servers and had no choice but to shut down its network. Thursday evening, the company said it was aware that it was being hit with a ransomware attack and spent the last 2 days trying to determine the extent and scale. The photography and medical imaging giant said the attack affected all external communications, including email, phone services. Bleeping Computer spoke with Advanced Intel CEO. Advanced Intel? Is that a company? Some guy's name that I can't pronounce, who said that Fujifilm has been hit with the Qbot Trojan in May, and added that people behind the Qbot have been working with the REvil ransomware gangs of late. So basically, REvil, they've hit companies in Nebraska that we've helped with. They also caused an outage this weekend after they were implicated in the ransomware attack against JBS, one of the world's largest meat producers. They previously shut down the Colonial Pipeline, causing gas shortages on the East Coast, which were real, by the way, and national outrage that sparked more stringent cybersecurity guidelines for pipelines. So, long story short, guys, is these bad guys, they're attacking anything they can get their hands on. They will attack you. They will attack a company because when they start, they don't know what you are. And that's why when you get hit with a ransomware attack, they don't just immediately start encrypting everything. They prod around your network to try to figure out what it is you've got. And if you've got something that they think is valuable, then they will turn around and charge a higher ransom for it. Like when I haven't seen any more Apple leaks recently, have you? I bet you Apple paid that $50 million ransom to stop leaks of their designs from coming out. Just saying. All right, let's see. Okay, we got some comments about McDonald's here. Let me go back up. All righty. June 19th at 6:30 for the beef game. Thank you, lovely Kimberly. I appreciate you jumping in and filling in the details that I don't have at hand. Thanks to Shelly. I think she helped me get the Sophos app on my iPhone remotely. I live in Colorado. I remember that, Ricky. I saw your order come through on my phone, and I was like, oh, crap. He's in Colorado. This is going to be fun, but I think Shelly has a way to do this. And so I literally emailed everybody. I emailed Papillion because it was bought through the Papillion Service Center, and I said, Shelly, will you please call him on Monday and get this taken care of? And then Trenton in Papillion was looking into it, and he goes, I got a message out with Brian asking how do we do it remotely. And then Shelly calls, and she goes, no, I'm on it, but I've got a message out to Brian to figure out how to do it remotely. And I was like, Shelly, if it's just scanning a QR code, can't we just send him a picture, like a screenshot of the QR code and tell him to scan it? Oh, yeah. Let's do that. Okay. So anyway, we got it all figured out, but yes, we remotely protected a Colorado cell phone with Sophos Mobile, and not So Fast Mobile. That's the scam. Sophos Mobile. And we got it taken care of. Thanks for the opportunity for your business, Ricky. I appreciate it. Aaron, it's going to drive the McDonald's employees mad. I'm a former McDonald's employee. My store was pretty accurate. This was back in the 90s when fast food restaurants didn't even take credit cards or checks. Wow. Yeah, but you can't even get people right now. That's the challenge. KJ says, hope the gunshot background sounds in Chicago doesn't affect the accuracy of orders. Yeah, you get up to the window and they just start handing out bullets. Like, that's all we heard during your order. We just give you wanted 6 McBullets. Like, there you go. Oh, let's see here. The McDonald's app isn't too bad. I ordered fresh chocolate chip cookies through the McDonald's app, and a free McFlurry a couple weeks ago was awesome. Yeah, I've used the McDonald's app too when the kids want chicken nuggets, because there's a McDonald's right across the street from the Papillion shop. So if I go to work and I have one of the littles in the car with me, they're like yelling chicken nuggets, and so I can order it on the app, go into the shop, drop and pick, and do everything I need to do, and then we can go and park in one of the drive-up spots and pick up the food there at McDonald's on the way out, and it's pretty handy actually. And you do get some deals on the app as well. Is there insurance that the companies can buy if they ever get ransomed? Yeah, there was another story about this. Again, one that was kind of in the weeds, so I didn't really bring it up too much. But basically, there is insurance you can get. You have to have a cybersecurity plan in place of how you'll respond to a ransomware attack. Then if you get hit, your rates go through the roof to the point where the insurance is almost unaffordable because companies that get hit tend to get hit again. So, because now they're marked, right? So drive-through 85% is great, especially with the cars, street noise, and other sound systems. Yeah, could you imagine if you drive up to the, you got like some low rider drives up and it's like burr, 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 and how is the McDonald's speaker going to hear anything out of that? That's true, Richard. It'd be funny if it wasn't sad about the gunshots in Chicago. All right. Now they hear Dad, and they're saying the kids are listening right now, and they're saying chicken nuggets. Sorry about that. Well, at least she's not asking for a hot dog at 6 in the morning. That was whoa. I don't feel good already. And now you're at hot dogs at 6 in the morning. That's not breakfast sausage. I don't know what's different about it, but it's not the same thing. Wendell says, I use ExpressVPN and like it, but it degrades my speed severely. Using speed test, I have 66.7 without the VPN and only 6.6. Oh, God. That is awful. So the big question is what you can switch to different locations. Different locations can have different speeds depending on. Typically you want to pick one that's close to you. I usually end up in Chicago or Texas. So those are the two ExpressVPN locations that are closest to me. Right now my phone is connected to Chicago, but I could connect if I wanted to Dallas or New York or Washington D.C., Seattle. Couple in Los Angeles and one in San Francisco, and that's just the ones in the U.S. The other thing that's really neat about this, if you play Call of Duty and you get one of those patches that goes to 99% complete and then won't ever finish, if you use your VPN and say you're from Canada, then it finishes. It's some weird glitchy thing with the BattleNet software. Just fun pro tip. Kim DoorDash donuts? Oh my gosh. Winston, this is life-changing. You can DoorDash donuts. You don't have to miss the program anymore. Oh God, guys, my throat's going. My voice is going out on me. All right, so the story that I think everybody's kind of waiting for here is not in my inbox. Where did it go? I just sent it to myself because I didn't want to try to find it, so I'm going to try to look it up now. But I read this story. I read some stories on Zero Hedge from time to time. It's one of my daily news reads. There's some wackadoo stuff on there, but there's also some pretty... they don't care about filtering, let's put it that way. They've been banned from Twitter several times. They don't really care. They just tell you how it is. So this is Zero Hedge, DIA, Chinese Defector. Thank you, Firefox, for remembering what I've been to before. Alrighty, so high-ranking Chinese defector is reportedly working with the DHA and has direct knowledge of China's bioweapons program. The defector has direct knowledge of special weapons programs in China, including bioweapons programs, the sources say. Red State, this is from Red State as reported by Zero Hedge. Red State sources say that it's partially true. The FBI Director Christopher Wray was ambushed with the information, they say, and Langley was also unaware, CIA. Sources say the DIA leadership kept the defector within their clandestine services network to prevent Langley and the State Department from accessing the person whose existence was kept from other agencies because DIA leadership believes there are Chinese spies or sources inside the FBI, CIA, and several federal agencies, like the State Department. Sources tell Red State the defector has been with the DIA for 3 months and has provided an extensive, technically detailed debrief to U.S. officials. In DIA's assessment, the information provided by the defector is legitimate. Sources say the level of confidence in the defector's information is what has led to a sudden crisis of confidence in Dr. Anthony Fauci, adding the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases, USAMRIID, because, got to have an acronym for everything, personnel detailed to DIA have corroborated very technical details about information provided by the defector. So anybody reading actual news, this isn't anything new. Anthony Fauci, the reason he knows so much about coronaviruses is because he was a huge proponent of gain-of-function research on coronaviruses. Right? it's a type of research where you take a virus and you try to make it as deadly as possible to study what would have to happen in nature to make the virus as deadly as possible. Then you can look for the progression of that in nature and you kind of get a heads up alert, right? And that works great as long as nothing leaks from your biolab, which is why it's super scary and you can't talk about things leaking from biolabs. Because if something leaked from a biolab, that means it was man-made, which you can't say that either. This episode's going to get banned like 6 ways from Sunday. I'm surprised I'm still streaming. Then if you can't say it leaked from a lab and you can't say it was man-made, then it has to be made in nature, but it wasn't made in nature. And if it was man-made, Dr. Fauci was the person partially responsible for providing the funding to the Wuhan Institute that made coronavirus, that was responsible for the deaths of millions of people. That's why I read Zero Hedge, guys. I mean, you have to filter through it, and you have to decide, is it true or not. Now, there's a lot. We're giving Red State a lot of credit here because they have sources, right? So if this was flipped the other direction and it was a story about how everything that the left said was absolutely correct and they were just naming sources, we would all be instantly suspicious, right? So I try to have the same level of suspicion I would have whether the news is something that I think is plausible or unplausible. That way I'm never surprised by anything, right? This seems very plausible. This fits the facts. This fits the circumstances, I guess, is a better way to put that. It makes sense. This is how this could happen. There was funding, a lot more funding than Fauci testified about. And these emails that are leaking are being blocked by some web services, not because they're hacked materials or anything. I think the latest thing is they can't be trusted because they're being reported by right-leaning news organizations. So it's not news because of who's reporting it, which I guess isn't such a far cry, but that's pretty base. That's pretty low. So anyway, there you go, guys. That's your. We have a Chinese spy for 3 months who's been detailing everything he knows about China's bioweapons programs, and they are reportedly doing some crazy stuff, like Captain America Super Soldier kind of crazy stuff, animal-human hybrid kind of crazy stuff. So it's interesting that we've got somebody now that's actually spilling the beans about it, and they held him for 3 months so that they could get actionable intelligence they could confirm before anybody else heard about it and was able to cover it up or make it disappear. So that is usually that's probably my guess why they kept it secret as long as they did. They probably would have continued to keep it secret, but you know how whether they say who said that two people can't keep a secret. Who said that? It was some American history icon, wasn't it? Like that said 2 people can't keep a secret unless one of them's dead. Something like that. So it's gonna get out. So anyway, all right. Let's see here. Oh, happy day, donuts delivered. Winston. Okay, anybody in town refurbish Epson 1430 color printer? Need printed, cleaned, and waste ink pads replaced. So Kevin's got some ink servicing services there if you guys want it. We don't work on printers at Schrock. It's just not cost effective in the long run. So yeah, if you have an old printer you need to have fixed, it sounds like Kevin's got some Epson parts. Pat says, good morning from northwestern Missouri. As your schedule permits, I would like to talk to you about several IT tasks at our church. At a minimum, a desktop upgrade for our vMix video platform. Yeah, absolutely. Happy to help you with that. Oh, I clicked on something and now it took me away. Now I'm back. Okay, yay. Ronald Westman, the left can't let Fauci get fired. If he is, then it'll show that Trump was right and they were wrong. That's the thing. They don't got to fire the guy. I mean, here's the thing. Being a pragmatist, you can say, okay, so he's involved in what possibly caused the worst pandemic ever. Well, it's not even the worst pandemic ever. If you believe media, it is, but death-wise, it's not. So in one of his emails, he actually said it should be classified as a severe seasonal flu. Why? And then he went on TV and said something else. So he's writing one thing to colleagues in an email where people have the same scientific knowledge he has, doesn't want to appear stupid. But then when he goes out to the public to talk to us plebes, then he just tells us we're all going to die and we should use hand sanitizer until your hands crack and bleed. and rub it in your eyes and stuff to make sure your eyes are sanitized. He didn't actually say that, right? But you get what I'm going. So anyway, they don't have to get rid of the guy because the last thing you want to do, however it was created, it's here, right? So having the guy around that knows the most about it could probably be a good asset to have. The kind of asset that like you make it's like if you're a prosecutor and you got two guys and somebody shot somebody, you give one of them a plea bargain. It's kind of like that, right? So you don't have to fire the guy. You don't have to get rid of him. You don't have to destroy the man. I don't really care if Anthony Fauci has a career after this or not, to be brutally honest. It's not going to impact my life one way or the other. However, getting accurate information you can trust from the authorities is really, really important. And if the whole time he's been lying about everything he's been saying, I mean, this is like fourth turning stuff, guys. This is loss of faith in every institution. The DIA can't tell the CIA about a Chinese defector, or the FBI, or the State Department, because they know China will hear about it within that. Loss of confidence, guys. Holy biscuits. We can spy on everybody's Facebook. We know exactly how many people were inside or outside of the Capitol building. How many people crossed the threshold on the 6th. But we don't know who in the intelligence community is a spy? Or a sympathizer? Good golly. So anyway, I'm not going to fix it here on the radio. We're not going to fix it talking about it. But it's good to know what's going on in the world around you, right? It's good to see why the news stories are changing, not just to say, whew, they're finally coming around. Why are they coming around? This could be the reason why. That all of a sudden stuff is going to start coming out. These freedom of information emails are dumping. And the media on the left doesn't want to cover them at all. They're basically saying it's fake news when it's freedom of information request released emails. They're FOIA emails. They're from the government. How can they be fake? They're not fake. They're completely real. But you're just going to choose not to cover it. Okay? Your viewers don't want to hear that. Your viewers don't want to see that. Your entire media structure, your organization, makes money by having advertisers buy ads on the station. If you put stuff on your station that your listeners or viewers don't want to hear, they stop listening and viewing. And then you can't sell your ads anymore. So you definitely want to put stuff, it's called infotainment, right? It's not actually news. It's like an echo chamber, basically. And we have them on the right, too. I mean, Newsmax is a great example of that. I tried to watch Newsmax, guys. I really did. I really tried. But it was just so blatantly over the top. I didn't trust that if there was something that if there was a Republican child rapist, I didn't trust they would talk about it. Because that's bad for Republicans. And I'm just like, no, that's bad for humans. Can we all agree that that's a bad thing? Please. Why can't we all agree on that, something that basic? I saw a post this morning. I woke up this morning and I hit Facebook and scrolled down real quick. I saw that Governor Ricketts made an appearance at the Cattlemen's Ball to raise money for cancer research. Okay. And early morning brain was like, the last thing, I don't feel good today, right? The last thing I would want to have to do is be a politician and say, even though I don't feel good, I have to go to the Cattlemen's Ball because I have to put in an appearance because it's a good cause and I have to be there and it's good politics and all these good reasons, but I don't feel good and I don't want to do it, right? I was talking to Scott over here the other day at KFAB and I was like, geez, Scott, I haven't had a boss in like 23 years. I don't know how that would go, So anyway, he went to the Cattlemen's Ball and made an appearance to raise money for cancer research. I don't know why I did it. I tapped on the comments and people just roasting him. But can't we all agree that a bunch of people getting together for a charitable event for cancer research is a good thing? It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I mean, I'm pretty sure Bob Kerrey went to the Cattlemen's Ball back in the day, if they had it. Why can't we agree on that? And people just roasting him for no reason. well, because their politics disagree. And it's okay to have political disagreements with people, but boy, to have that level of anger and vitriol in your life where you just, it just seeps into everything you are. I don't know, who was that person in the media this week that was talking about fantasizing about emptying a revolver into any white person's head she could find. It's just like that level of hate. That's like soul poisoning. Like, I don't know how you get up in the morning. Like, could you imagine waking up every morning and the first thought in your head is, my God, I hate white people. Well, my God, I hate anybody. Like, that's the first thought in your morning, that you just love to kill someone because of the color of their skin. Didn't we, like, fight a war over that? I didn't wear my Fort Sumter t-shirt today. I wore it yesterday, though, because we went and saw Fort Sumter when we were in South Carolina. And it's kind of crazy because you read about, it took me for a second, because you read in history about all the stuff that happens, right? And of course, cognitive brain knows these are real places and real people were there and these events happened, right? But to stand inside Fort Sumter and imagine, okay, so the Civil War has not broken out yet. The first shots were fired into Fort Sumter by the South. War is declared, and a Union general decides to dispatch his entire force, I forget what, I don't know if it was a company or whatever, into Fort Sumter, which of course is on an island. You have to go there by boat. The fort is not complete. The fort was started during the Revolutionary War and it still was not finished. So it was a partially built fort, and he moved his entire force with whatever provisions they could carry into that fort. Now think about that from a military planning perspective. You're going to take your force into a position that is partially defensible. You have some cover, but you have no resupply. And you're surrounded by enemies. And you're going to choose to go there. Now, maybe the situation was they were going to get killed if they didn't go there because the South was rising up or whatever. So they went there, and they held out for like days getting shelled. It was like the longest artillery barrage ever or something. It was crazy. But they were there for days getting shelled. And that's what destroyed most of Fort Sumter, was the South actually attacking it. First shots in the Civil War. Now I'm standing in this fort, and I'm imagining that. I'm imagining I'm the commander, and I'm taking my troops into Fort Sumter, where I know they're probably going to die or get captured eventually. Was he hoping for reinforcements? Was he thinking that this would be a one-off deal and he just had to stall for time? Like, what was the rationale there? And it made it very real to be there and be in that spot in that moment and try to see the land around you and look at how it would have planned out, and like how that island clear, that other fort clear over there was shooting shells and hitting. Just amazing stuff, in the technology, how it had changed, and the different cannons and everything. Just amazing. So anyway, these things really happen, and real people do them. There really is a Chinese defector working with the NIH, or the NIH, not yet, with the DIA. He's a real guy who fled China for a real reason and is trusting Americans to keep him and probably his family and everybody he knows alive. And the Americans know if they tell the FBI and the CIA about this guy, that he's a dead man. Wow. It's crazy. Alrighty. Let's go scroll. Last call for questions, guys. My voice is definitely on the way to bye-byesville. Okay. My Surface 3 won't update. Weird. It says storage is full, but I have 88% of my storage available. I'm just going to let it sit there and think about what it's doing. All right, if it's saying the storage is full and you have 88% available, it's because there's not enough storage total on the tablet to install the update. The update can be gargantuan. So what you want to do is you want to actually download it. If you Google like download Windows 10, there's a method, a media creation tool that you can create a flash drive. And that's what we do in the service centers when we upgrade them. And then you put that flash drive into the side of the computer, and that way you don't have to copy the huge update onto the storage device. Instead, you're just actually installing it on the storage device, and then you have enough room. So that's usually why you don't have enough room. Total virus of convenience to dump Trump. Shady, shady stuff. Shady, shady stuff. Fauci should have stayed out of politics and off the TV shows. He enjoyed the fame. Well, I mean, come on, let's be real, guys. I mean, Fauci is, in some people's minds, he's a complete villain. He's like Bill Gates microchipping people. And in some people's eyes, Fauci is a hero, right? The truth usually is somewhere in the middle. But there's no doubt he enjoyed the fame. He enjoyed everybody hanging on his every word. He enjoyed being the source of information. He enjoyed being able to be viewed as a savior of his people, right? That's a tough thing to turn down, speaking as a human being, right? Now, the question is, did he manipulate what he was saying to increase or prolong his fame? And if that's the case, that's where the line gets real shady real quick. The left used the virus to go after Trump, then they put out the worst person ever to be elected president into the Oval Office, with the other worst ever choice for president into the vice president's office. Yeah. Who was that said that, I would say that Joe Biden is the worst president since Jimmy Carter, but that's not really fair to Jimmy Carter? Something like that. Make some of Campbell's chicken noodle soup and add a can of cream corn into the soup. Are you messing with me, Aaron? Chicken noodle soup with cream corn in it? And eat that with crackers when I have a cold. I like chicken noodle soup and I love me some cream corn, for sure. But it never would have occurred to me to put it together. Chicken noodle cream corn soup? Give it a try. I would love to go on a tour of Civil War sites. I'm a history nerd. Someday I want to do a tour of Civil War and Revolutionary War sites. That is, if there's any that don't have a mall built on top of them. There are actually. In fact, when we were in Charleston, we did a carriage tour of like old Charleston. We went down King Street. It was named for King George, King of England, King Street. And there was a building over here, and they said right there, that building, George Washington was in that building, and he walked out, and he was looking at this building on the right over here, and he must have really liked the architecture, because the guy who designed this building here is the same guy that ended up designing the White House at George Washington's direction. So I mean, you start to get then the dungeon on King Street, which is basically a jail. That's where the youngest signers of the Declaration of Independence were imprisoned. Right there in that building. That was the vent that they could look out on and see the street. I mean, it hits you like, wow, these were all real people. And of course they were all real people. I mean, I don't mean this stupid, but you always have a disconnect when you read about it or you hear about it. There's a disconnect, like it's happening to somebody else, somewhere else. And when you stand in the space and you experience it, it's like, this happened right here. Right here. George Washington walked through that doorway right there. Like when I was going through some of my dad's old coins after he passed, and I found a Continental. Like literally, a Continental. Now, it's literally still worth about a Continental. It's not worth any kind of money. But 1778, that bill was printed during the Revolutionary War. That's just cool. This was in people's hands during the Revolutionary War. Then you think about how chaotic that time must have been. There's England, there's the king, there's pounds, and then you have Continentals, and they're not really worth a lot, and then there's fake Continentals, and there's a war going on, and you don't really think you can win, but you might win, and you don't know, and imagine how chaotic that whole time was. And then you'll feel a lot better about how chaotic this whole time is. All right, let's see. Hey, Bill. Ronald says, Gettysburg, read the story of why the South attacked so far north. Gettysburg is northwest of Washington, D.C. Will do. Erin says she has a flash drive. Yep, use that flash drive. You'll be good to go. All right. Is your phone using 5G? It is. Maybe that's where I got the cold, Winston. Oh. Just kidding. I have ancestors that focus on the revolution. I have ancestors that fought. How they focus? You have ancestors focusing? What is this, a seance? What is this? I have ancestors that fought in the revolution for the English. Awkward. Wondering if 5G is worth it. Oh, I thought you meant 5G was making me sick, Winston. Is it worth it? It's definitely faster for internet. Coverage isn't quite there yet, but any of your flagship phones are going to have 5G. So if you're planning on buying a flagship phone, like a nice phone, you're going to get 5G. If you buy one of the budget phones, you're not going to get 5G. That's about all it is. The coverage isn't quite there yet for it to be real hot, though. We set up a phone for hotspot when traveling so the kids can use their tablets without bothering us. That's right. In fact, the new Ford F-150s, well, when they can get the chips for them anyway, have built-in hotspots now, which is kind of funny because you take your phone and you connect it to the truck and it uses your phone's internet. Also, you can buy like a plan for $14 a month from AT&T where you get like 2 gigabytes of internet a month for your truck. It's not really worth it, but especially when you have a hotspot that's unlimited, it's not worth it at all. But yeah, you can literally have a rolling hotspot for your truck. All right, guys, got to wrap it up. Again, today's the last day for the surge protectors. It's a robo thing. At the end of the day, the price is going to go back up to the full price of $60 a piece. So they are 25% off right now. We started off with 150. We're down to 76, so that's pretty darn good. So if it's something you're interested in, you can click on Shop and Specials. Check that out over on the Schrock Innovations website. If you have good surge protectors already, I'd encourage you to pick up another one, just so you have a spare in the event that there's a problem with your surge protector. You can swap it out in the night. These are the 2,100 joule models, not the 1,200 joule models. Which is probably what we're going to end up getting replaced with, I'm guessing, because that's what was on the specs when they sold them to us. We had an under promise and an over deliver. Okay, I think next time it'll be promised and delivered. So if you want to get the ones with the higher joule rating, I would definitely recommend you snag these before they're gone. All right, guys, we'll talk to you all next weekend. Thanks for joining us. Remember to keep those cell phones protected. Get your computers secured with Sophos. Make sure you've got Secure Updater. You can get a free trial at secureupdater.com. And we'll see you again next Sunday for another edition of Compute This.